Look at these houses. All right, we are at Deer Lake in Burnaby. I grew up in Burnaby. This is this is an interesting lake. There's a lot of new developments the past 30 years, but when we were kids, we used to come here. I'll tell you more about that story later. Took my dog here. There was some ducks here one time. I wasn't paying attention. The leash got tight, and I almost ended up down there. But instead, I fell square onto that on my back. So that was awesome. Well, we just got 2 and 3 out of 14 to nod and smile and say hello like normal happy people. Ooh, there's some people fishing, I think. That's where Ocala prison used to be. And we used to swim in this lake. Can't swim in it now. Yeah, we used to swim in this lake. Swim down from the beach side there. And we would scoop the mud off the bottom of the lake and throw it at each other. And it was this weird, like, it was quite runny. Well, you can't swim in there now, they say, because of the nitrogen from the geese, which is not not true. Maybe that is today, who knows? But back then, what they found with the Ocala prison was that they were just running all their sewage straight into the lake. So all that mud we were slinging around, who knows what that was? Part something. Pretty nasty. Anyways, I'm gonna walk around this lake and back. I mean, I don't think you can go all the way around. I think you had to come back somewhere over there, but talk to you in a bit. All right, so while I'm on this bench, I'll sit and talk about. People will say I'm not political. I wasn't political either until it came and took my life away and took a bunch of your lives away too. I mean, COVID was weird because it was so different for everybody, right? You know, if you were someone whose job wasn't affected and had no reaction to a couple of jabs, and you know, you just watched your house price go up in value. Yeah, you pay more property tax, but you just got richer, right? And then everyone else that couldn't work lost their livelihood. Industries were shut down. I mean, you remember the front page of the Toronto Star talking about letting the willfully unvaccinated die and don't give them ICU beds and all this stuff? I mean, this is an absurd time, and people are all too quick to forget it. And I don't know how you can't be political when you look at the last 10 years and you look at the mismanagement of literally everything, from our economy, from, you know, the ridiculous fraud and corruption, but just the incompetent policies, keeping all this oil and gas in the ground, housing costs, inflation, printing money. And it wasn't just COVID. I mean, it hasn't slowed down. It was rampant before, and it's worse now. So you can't just say, oh, it was COVID, some world event spending. That's why we have this deficit. That's ridiculous. We have no growth in our GDP, less than 1% or 1% something the last 10 years. That's ridiculous. We have too much crime, inflation, we don't have enough houses, we have immigration's out of control. I mean, by what metric is anything better? Or by what metric is anything not substantially worse? I mean, housing prices are ridiculous. Jobs, manufacturing, what's that? You know? So I don't know how you can't be political when you're just sitting there. If you're, like the vast majority, whether you did well in the stock market or not, and people who are invested in the stock market, I don't feel bad. You're investing in companies that are making profits off of essentially slave labor, and with tariffs, this is going to be a reset, and they're going to bring some jobs and manufacturing and better wages back to North America. Okay. So some people are going to have to suffer, just like we've had to suffer the last 2 generations as we all sat by and didn't vote and didn't do anything and just let this money printing and these inflationary policies and these economic crushing policies, green baloney energy policies. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, how do you believe in any of this stuff? It sounds great, but I mean, like Canada, we could do all these things and it wouldn't affect anything on planet Earth. So, it's so ridiculous. By every metric, this country is worse off. So how can you say you're not political? You've got to realize that every vote matters, and that idiot who's ignorant and doesn't know anything, unfortunately, they're not always just not voting. Like, some people are ignorant and disillusioned, whatever. Okay, we're all ignorant to many things. For the record, ignorant doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means you don't know some facts. So, I'm plenty ignorant about many things still. I like to learn new things. I have an open mind. That's the difference. People that are not willing to talk politics, I don't understand that either. My parents are like that. The only people that I've ever seen that aren't willing to talk about their politics is because they generally can't articulate one valid, logical point as to why they vote the way they do or think the way they do. I don't think they even really know when it gets down to it. And you watch their brain melt just by asking simple, logical questions. So, if you're one of the people that's thinking, "Oh, my vote doesn't matter," or I'm not political," well, then kiss the rest of your country goodbye. And all the opportunities you could have still, goodbye. This country is going to get bankrupted if it's another liberal government. It cannot happen. You're going to see, it's going to be a crazy time coming up. There's going to be lots of changes, as there should be. In the stock market, most of the wealth, vast majority, 90% of it's, 30% of people own that. So for the vast majority of these disillusioned non-voters, people starting over like myself, young people that don't have any skin in the game yet, don't have any money yet. They're just trying to tread water, get through school, pay rent, put food on the table, whatever it is they're trying to do when they're starting their lives. What are they supposed to do? So those people, you need to vote. You need to realize that you have the power to change some things, and you need to talk. You need to be willing to talk and have an open mind. I don't know how we bridge the gap to some people that are just so unwilling to talk. I don't know how to get people willing to talk. I don't know if it's just everyone has to have their own sort of aha moment where they wake up or what, but so many obvious things happened that woke me up. I don't know how these things, I guess it's just, again, back to COVID affecting people in different ways, but some people did well, I guess, during COVID, and maybe if they don't have kids, or the kids are grown, they didn't see how it affected the youngsters, and maybe they don't know people whose businesses were affected, or people who lost their jobs, or people who lost friends or family over, taking a principled stance, whether that be, to each their own, or I'm just, I'm not going to put that crap in my body. Whatever it is, like you heard it all. Try and remember to put that Toronto Star image in somewhere right about here. Because that's how ridiculous it was. That's how ridiculous it was. You need to get fed up. You need to realize that you can't just sit around and do nothing while your country's getting raped by corrupt politicians, world bankers. Mark Carney is a disaster, and he will destroy this country. You might as well just become China right now. Anyways, I'm going to finish my walk, and that's about all I have to say for today. Just think about the world you live in, and if you want it to get better or worse, what's happened the last 10 years? Has it gotten better or worse? Voter turnout, man. It's important. Well, we're gonna head back. Nice walk today, but you know, please consider talking to those who you think are political. If you think you're not political and you've never voted, please consider voting. Find some people that haven't voted, and you know, talk a little sense into them. We gotta turn things around here. Otherwise, things are just only gonna get worse. Till next time.